Welcome to the first episode or introduction. I'm not really sure yet exactly what this is. It's just kind of me getting used to it. But this is the intro to Is This Andre? And my life is in a state of constant confusion. So what I mean by that is everything I've done, I kind of am hesitant to know how to transition it into a profession. But it's not like when I'm doing it that I don't have that as the goal, but it's just I like acquiring skills and I enjoy making stuff. I'm apparently very bad at making money though. And it often makes me feel like a fraud or a failure, if I look at it myself through an outside lens, like kind of like a loser. It's challenging and has left me feeling very, vulnerable, I guess. And so this series is an exploration of how I'm doing and also some tutorials. So let me give some examples of what I do. So over my life, I've made 4 albums. I've wrote grants. I've worked in kitchens, relatively fine dining, and have worked my way up from line cook to sous chef to pastry chef. I've worked as a content writer, teaching tutorials, and I've stumbled into all of these jobs, and I just kind of kept on going until I learned how to do them proficiently, and I've enjoyed all of them too. And I don't know how I feel about them, and I don't know how I feel about doing this right now. I've also made music videos for bands. I've done some for Timber Timbre and Fetnat, and oddly enough, I rarely do them for my own music, and I don't know why that is. But in this series, I want to explore my interests, and I want to explore being myself, and hopefully I can just be myself to this camera and in turn be myself to whoever watches this. I don't really know how it works. All I know is that I've seen people online before and I've really related to them, and I felt connected to a stranger and that felt really nice, and I thought maybe I could do the same. So I'm gonna talk about cooking. Not in every video. I'm going to talk about audio production and how I use things. I'm not really going to talk about content writing because that was just a job. Truly, that was a job that I was thankful for, but I'm not going to be like, here's how you write list articles. Anyone can figure that out. Or I don't know. I'm not that great at it, to be honest with you. So let's go into the first video. The first video is going to be a love letter to my favorite digital audio workstation, or DAW. And surprisingly, it's GarageBand iOS for the iPhone. Now, I've used Reaper, Logic, Pro Tools. I think they're all fantastic. I don't really know how to use Ableton. I've never really dug into it, but I think I have a strong case for why I think GarageBand iOS for a specific type of person, and for me, why I love it is pretty simple. It is fun. It's easy. The interface is clean. It's immediate. It's also it's convenient. You can just have your headphones in and open up instead of doom scrolling on Instagram or YouTube or refreshing your Gmail, hoping that a friend's responded or you got some junk mail to read. You can open up GarageBand iOS and quickly start exploring sounds. You really don't need any musical skill, which is kind of I would say beautiful, but obviously having musical skill helps, but there's tons of workarounds if you don't, and it doesn't feel daunting. Now, you can use GarageBand in conjunction with other DAWs, and that makes it even more powerful. But for just demoing things, it's pretty top notch. So let's get into it and hear my neurotic rant and tutorial on why I think GarageBand iOS is the most convenient DAW out there going today. So it's a new day, and I should explain my relationship with GarageBand iOS. So in my early life, I was a folk singer, and most of my experience was writing at home, doing some rough demoing, and then going into a studio and fleshing everything out there willy-nilly on the fly. And that was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and I appreciate that time. And as I got older, though, I felt like I didn't have anything to say anymore. And it was because I was going through some family stuff, some personal things. I was pretty much a mess of a human for a long time. I sold all of my gear. I stopped writing. And I just gave up on being a creative person, which was detrimental in my personal life and my private life. I thought I didn't have anything to say, but I think the more reflective answer is that I didn't know I had something to say or how to say it at the time. So you fast forward a few years, I'm hanging out with my friend, and we're listening to pop music all the time, and I had, you never really give up on, well, if you like making things, you never like really stop. Even if you tell yourself, you'll convince yourself that you don't want to make anything, or you can't. But I thought to myself, I want to make a pop album for some reason. And all I had was my phone, and I knew GarageBand was on it. And I thought, well, let's check it out and see what comes of this. And within the first day, I had written a song that I never would have written in a studio. I never would have written on a guitar. I probably would have never written sitting down at any instrument. I had access to my fingertips, drums, bass, tons of different synthesizers, vocal effects, and I could shape sounds without being self-conscious, without having to perform in front of anybody. I could just be in my own little world, headphones plugged in, sitting on the couch, sitting at a cafe, taking a bus ride. It was really nice. And so my relationship from GarageBand with GarageBand has kind of evolved to thinking that it's just a little toy, to thinking that it's a powerful toy, kind of like a game, and is a great tool to access creativity on the fly and to demo things and to try out ideas without feeling self-conscious, and also to build your confidence that your ideas are actually good. So I finished an album called The Tunnels Will Keep Us Safe, and then just a little bit after that, I started working on a new album on my phone, which is called Bloodsport. It's not out yet, but it's all finished. And now I did those two albums over a couple years, and now in that time, I've bought a bunch of different synthesizers and gear, and here I am wondering why I did that. Even though I love all that gear, I am still called to this. I'm still loyal to it. I'm not loyal to Apple. That's not really what I'm saying. I'm loyal to the DAW because it allowed me to feel creative again, or it opened me up to realizing that we're all creative, and sometimes we just need a place to feel free to express yourself without anybody knowing, or until you're ready. So let's get into the pros and cons of why this isn't for everybody. here I go just ranting about GarageBand and how much I love it. So that kind of means that my take on it is a little subjective because I have had such great experiences with it, and I'm kind of saying how much I love it. But the truth is, GarageBand's pretty easy to shit on, and I think that kind of leads me to who this is for and who this isn't for. Now, I think GarageBand's for everybody. That's what's so lovely about it. That's its strongest strength, that it's available to anybody with an iPhone. Now, there is obviously the cost of having an iPhone to use it, but in terms of setups, it's a pretty powerful on-the-box music creation system that I don't think is worth making fun of. But GarageBand's really easy to make fun of. So if you are a studio or a producer and you have all this outboard gear and in the box systems that have tons of beautiful VSTs, plugins, and effects and processors with a great interface and amazing microphones, maybe this isn't for you, but I would say maybe it would be a break from having all your time spent in a fantastic studio. I only think this the parameters of GarageBand iOS would make your I think it'd be fun. I think it's just like it'd be a bit of a game for you, and it might lead you to some creative breakthroughs. That's wishful thinking, but I do think that might be the case. I don't think it's for someone who takes themselves so seriously that they're like, I need the best equipment to make the music that I want to make. I don't agree with that mentality. I think it's kind of detrimental to making things. So in that case, I think you should give it a try because you might have some fun. And that is, even if your music's super serious or like depressing, it's like having some fun while making stuff is nice. It's you don't need to be this like angry person. That being said, GarageBand has tons of limitations. I mean, iOS especially. I don't think if you're trying to make like the type of music you're making kind of is dictated by GarageBand. If you want to go through the sounds and find the ones that you like, you'll probably only find a few, and that will dictate the kind of record you make. A good example of this is an artist from Toronto, Canada called Diamond Rings. Their first album, I think, was mostly made in GarageBand a while back, and it's a phenomenal album. It's not too fancy. It's pretty like straightforward and bare bones, and I think in an interview, the last thing I heard him say was that maybe it doesn't even hold up production-wise to today's standards. But it's a well-written record, and I think it stands up. And it's pretty cool that the limitations of using GarageBand are all over that thing. So that's who I think, and yeah, that's who I think GarageBand is for. It's for everyone, and that's why I love it. So my name's and this is this Andre. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.